John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shined in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. There is a man sent from God, whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the light which lighted every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word was made flesh, and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. In the beginning did he, God, promise Abraham that from him would a great nation come, greater than the sand of the sea and the stars of heaven. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It was to them that God made the promise. Moses led the people out of Egypt, and God gave commandment to Israel. And so came the law of God, the law which is the Mosaic law. When the fullness of time came, God sent his Son, born under the law, to set man free from the law, and through his blood creating a new creature under a new covenant. This new creature that is in God, neither of the circumcision nor the uncircumcision, but a new creature. Hebrews chapter 8. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he said, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws in their mind, and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. Hebrews chapter 9, verses 13 through 14. For if the blood of bulls and of goats, and the ashes of an heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctify to the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God? Because of this sacrifice that Jesus saved. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. Matthew chapter 16, verses 24 through 25. Strive to enter in at the strait gate, for many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in, and shall not be able. Luke chapter 13, verse 24. Matthew chapter 10, verse 37 through 40. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me, and he that taketh out his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. Thus saith the Son of God, if ye love me, keep my commandments. John chapter 14, verse 15. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. John chapter 14, verse 21. John chapter 14, verse 23. Jesus answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him, and make our abode with him. He that loveth me not keepeth not my sayings, and the words which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me. John chapter 15, verse 10. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. John chapter 15, verse 14. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. Did the Son of Man himself say, Luke chapter 21, verse 36. Die to self, take up your cross, and follow him. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Our reasonable service is to present our bodies a living sacrifice, because of the mercy God had on us by sending his Son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for our sins. And we are not to be conformed to this world, but we are to be transformed by the renewing of our mind, that we may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. We are to walk in the Spirit and not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Take up our cross, put on the new man, which is created in God after true holiness. Die to self, no longer live in sin. Seek those things which are above. Set our heart not on the things of the world, but on the things of heaven. Titus chapter 2, verses 11 through 12. For the grace of God that bringeth salvation had appeared to all men, teaching us that, denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world. We are to serve God.